What is going on, everybody? Kevin Calhoun here. Welcome back. It's the Calhoun Show, and we had an impromptu podcast with good old Dan Condie. One of my favorite people was in studio, just finished up with him, and we did a lot of cool stuff. We talked college football, NBA. He told a story about one college football fan base cheering FU to another college football fan base, and the team that they were chanting at wasn't there, which is hysterical. So you get that one. And we did a bunch of NFL stuff, and we had a few laughs and talked a lot of sports. So it was a good time, and I'm really glad Dan came in. We're going to do it more often for sure. So I wanted to put this at the beginning, give you guys the particulars. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You can follow the show on Twitter at Calhoun Show, email the show, calhounshow@gmail.com. You can like the show on Facebook or subscribe to it on YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter at ShutUpCalhoun, and we have a voicemail line up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365, 860-740-2119 is the number to call the voicemail line. And I tell a little bit about this at the end of the show. I'll mention it here now. We have a contest going on between now and December 24th at midnight. And basically, it's just the best social media interaction we get between now and that date will win a really cool prize, something I'm really excited about and really, really happy that we're doing this. So if you haven't, been interacting with us on social media and you want a shot at this, then by all means, please join in. We'd love that. So those are all the particulars. I had a great time with Dan, and please enjoy. Well, look who's here. Mr. Condie's back.
Hello, hello.
I'm just realizing I set myself up so I couldn't see you. There we go.
That's all right. You're not missing much today.
All right, so we have a lot of stuff to do. This is totally impromptu.
Yeah.
Dan texted me about a completely different thing.
Yeah, I was just wondering if he was recording today.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, why don't you stop by? I'm like, of course I am.
Yeah.
And here I am.
So here we are, and we're going to talk about a bunch of different stuff. However, I had teased this in the video that we put online yesterday.
You tease.
Yes. So we are on the verge of history.
How so?
So for people that have listened to this show for a long time, everyone knows that I have people that I like and people that I don't like. And in the NFL, there's one particular person I can't stand. I don't know if you know who this person is.
Does he happen to play for Dallas?
He doesn't play.
Oh.
He's a coach.
Oh, he's a coach.
He's a coach.
Yeah.
It's Jeff.
He's in LA, isn't he?
Yes, it's Jeff Fisher.
Didn't they just cut ties with him last
week?
No.
Not only did the St. Louis, whatever the hell they are, the Rams sign up for another 2 years of Jeff Fisher.
Smart.
He hasn't had a winning season in, I think, 8 years.
Yeah,
I'm not making that shit up. However, this is the more important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Fisher, by the end of this season, will be the losingest coach of all time.
The losingest
He will have the most losses of any coach in NFL history. And this is my favorite thing happening in sports.
That's impressive in a really, really sad way. Not only for him, because, that reflects poorly on him directly, but his superiors. Who are the front offices that just keep going back to that pile?
Stan Kroenke, to answer your question.
Good heavens, dude.
About to become I think he's either one short of tying the record or he's on the record. I think Dan Reeves has the record. I looked it up yesterday. I didn't bother looking it up again because it just makes me happy. I didn't even need the knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to know that it's happening.
Yeah, Dan Reeves seems like he might have had that record just because he was there so long.
Oh yeah,
even in winning seasons, dude, he'll tally enough losses to have the most. You know what I mean?
Dude, no kidding. Because if you look at the top 10 list, almost all of them are just coaches that coached forever.
Exactly.
They just coached for a very long time.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm very excited about that. However, we have a bunch of stuff to do.
Okay.
We're going to talk college football.
Let's do it.
We're going to talk NBA. And we're going to talk. I have a bunch of NFL questions for you.
Okay.
So, you're the college football guy. First off.
Yeah.
Your Utes made a run, at least to try to stop Colorado, but came up short.
Oh, dude, where our season was done when we let Oregon tap their toe in our end zone corner with 2 seconds left.
That one hurt, yeah.
That one hurt. Losing to the eventual champion Washington at home by 7 points that came off of a punt return touchdown, that hurt. And getting tackled at Cal on the half-yard line
that hurt too.
Ice the clock, that one hurt too. So rough season, but I gotta say, I mean, it is a positive thing that I'm nitpicking, games that close. But Utah did, and I will say this for the record, Utah continued the streak. There is not a single college football playoff top 25 ranking ever, has never been with no Utah.
Really?
Utah has been in the top 25 of every college football playoff ranking that they have come out with since 2013.
How many schools can say that?
Alabama,
just off the top of your head, I know you don't.
Ohio State, Baylor could. I don't think they can anymore. Oregon could. I don't think they can anymore. Clemson and Florida State. So we are.
You can't name them off the top of your head.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't want to put you on the spot here. Oh, you have all that knowledge. All right.
Yeah, I have to justify my obsession somehow.
All right. So the Final Four.
Yes.
Do we have the best 4 teams?
Ooh, you know what? I think you can make the argument. Yeah, I don't think one of them is so glaringly, out of place where, you could say, oh, Michigan has to be in, or,
Penn State.
Penn State, yeah. Penn State's one of those schools, even when they're successful, you don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're so just under the radar, even in their success.
Moreover than don't care. Actively root against.
Really? Okay.
Well, because it's Penn State.
Sure.
Because it's Penn State.
Yeah, I'm just completely apathetic about. I just don't. No opinion at all. Don't care. They're just there. They're kind of like Texas Tech,
I picture them as Texas to me at this point.
Really?
Just kind of blasé, big school, big name, not accomplishing anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed watching them play that Wisconsin game. They're kind of fun. And toward the end of it, I was at a point where I was like, I never want to see Penn State do anything.
Sure.
But these players obviously didn't do anything wrong. I wouldn't mind seeing them get into the Final Four only to, get absolutely steamrolled.
Yeah, sure.
by Alabama.
You'd have to laugh at the irony had Michigan gotten in after the stink that the Big Ten made about it has to be a conference champion, and then you get 2 in and not one of them is a conference. That would have been irony at its best.
All right.
What do you think? Best 4 are in?
No. I think Michigan's the 4th best team. I think the right 4 are in though.
Yeah, I would agree.
So
you would replace Washington, or who would you replace?
Yeah, I think you'd have to replace Washington. Here's the weird thing for me, though. But I think Michigan's the 4th best team, or one of the top 4 best teams.
Okay.
I think Penn State has a better argument than Michigan to get in. So I don't think Michigan could get in, because I don't think their argument was good enough. I think that if Ohio State and Penn State were wearing the opposite uniforms, Penn State would be in and Ohio State would be out. If they had the same resumes, but they didn't, Ohio State didn't have the cachet of being Ohio State, they wouldn't be in.
Oh, I got you. Okay, I feel you.
You know what I mean?
I thought you meant if Ohio State had just beaten Wisconsin to win the Big Ten, if they'd be out.
Isn't Penn State's resume better than Ohio State's because they beat them and just the one loss aside from that, and they won the conference.
Yeah, but then you would have to make the argument that who'd Michigan lose to? Is it some
Iowa?
Iowa, that's right. Are you going to make the argument that Iowa is a better team than Michigan? But
Iowa
football math is kind of weird.
The math is weird, but for me, I guess the tiebreaker is the Big Ten title. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
All right,
it does have to sting really bad that Penn State is watching the team that they beat just sit out the last week, and it's just a given. No one thought Ohio State was going anywhere.
Ohio State's coming in rested.
Yeah.
Even more rested than everybody else.
Right.
The pick is obviously Alabama.
Okay, so you would oust Washington in favor of Michigan, more so because you think Michigan is a better matchup against Alabama?
I think if you did best 4 teams, it would be, just ignoring conferences and everything.
Sure.
It would be Bama, Ohio State, Clemson, and Michigan. I think those are the best 4 teams.
So you think Michigan beats Washington head-to-head on a neutral field?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least
I would disagree only because of
10,
how Washington's playing recently.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's fair. And you obviously see way more Washington than I do. Being the Pac-12 guy that you are, you see them
naturally.
Yeah.
Naturally. Yeah.
So I trust your judgment. I mean, maybe they'll show up, but I mean, I know it's Alabama, but a Final Four team being a 14.5-point underdog. Michigan's not a 14.5-point underdog against Alabama. You know what I mean?
No. Coming off the most recent loss, I mean, as close as it was, they probably get the benefit of the doubt. I think that Michigan would still be, a 6-point dog, you think?
Maybe 8.
Maybe 8.
Put it over the touchdown. Put it over the touchdown, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. So, I don't know. I'd give Washington a puncher's chance because it's a Chris Peterson team.
True.
That man is insane. I mean, to really comprehend
how fast he did this too.
How small Boise State was, and even before Peterson, when they were a Division II team. I mean, Boise State, when Penn State was relevant and when Michigan and Notre Dame was actually a thing, Boise State was a D2 team.
Yep.
I mean, they are a glorified community college. That is the only thing keeping them out of expansion talks. So for Peterson to go to Washington and actually have a better recruiting base and things like that, Washington's going to be number 1 in the North for a long time. Oregon's going to be looking up and just throwing money at their problems like USC. It's going to be great. It's going to be a dumpster fire.
Willie Taggett coming in hot today.
Yeah.
All right. So next college football question.
Yes.
Keep it at 4, or do you want 8?
I think eventually you have to draw a line in the sand and just say, you know what, I'm sorry if you feel that we're wrong, but we have to create another division. 120 whatever teams is just ridiculous because out of the gate, there are teams that can't win it. Has Western Michigan lost yet?
No.
Are they anywhere close?
They are certainly not.
Are they even in the top 10?
No, they're
not.
14.
So you have to come to the realization that there is just a divisional necessity to get it down to just those who are competing for the championship. You make conferences, I think 4 conferences of 16, and again, I've gone over that before.
Yes.
But divisional champs play each other. That means that's 8 teams. You have 8 divisional champs. You start with the conference championship game being the first round of the playoff. Think of it that way. And then you eventually will get the 4 conference champions who will play in the final 4, if you want to call it that. But really, it's the second round of the playoff. And then you get a natural champ.
But
again,
you still...
It just adds parity. Yeah. It adds... Because the SEC doesn't play anybody outside of the South. So they have that stigma about them. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if Alabama backs it up.
With the current structure that they have now, if they went to 8, I think the best way to do it would be the 5 champions and 3 at-large.
So the 5 champions
5 conference champions are in, and then you pick 3. Best 3 teams that aren't a conference champion.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Wild card format or something?
Yeah, kind of.
Or do you want it to be human?
I would do human voting, and I would also make it. And this isn't my original idea. I've heard people say this before. I would make it so if you go to 8, the first round is hosted by the lower seed.
The first round is hosted by the lower seed.
So if you're if you're the worst at-large team that gets in, you're the 8 seed. Say you're Florida, and you get in, and you're the 8.
Yep.
You go to Alabama and you play in that first round. And then Alabama in the Final Four and in the championship game goes to the neutral site.
Sure. I don't have a problem with it going to 8.
Reward the seed, I guess, is the way I look at that.
Yeah. I know they're already griping, athletic directors and school presidents about the current bowl game setup. There's too many of them. It takes too long. It distracts from school and stuff like that. So, I'm sure they could work it out. But you would still have to have conference championship weekend. You'd still have to have the token Army-Navy mess.
Sure.
I mean, whatever.
Poor Army. Poor Army. All right.
Poor America.
Real quick, because we're going long on college football. Heisman. Make the case that Lamar Jackson doesn't win the Heisman.
It's highlight over quality. Highlight over substance. It's the eye test over the Final Four, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
There is something to be said in my book for proving it when you're supposed to.
Sure.
I think Deshaun Watson had the spotlight on him from the get-go. If you look at the average preseason ranking of individual players, Lamar Jackson is hovering somewhere in the 30s.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we know he's gonna be good, but he's still young. He's still, you know, we don't know what he's gonna do. Deshaun Watson, consistently top 3. Mm-hmm. You know, Peppers was on the radar, but you know, sometimes outside the top 10. Of course, Baker Mayfield, but dude, Fournette,
love Baker.
Crickets.
Yes, nothing on Fournette.
McCaffrey, crickets. You know, these players that were top 5, they're nowhere to be found. People plan for Watson. They game plan their defense around Watson, and he still got it done. Lamar Jackson, I mean, he bust out on the scene fairly early, and you're not going to hold that guy back, especially in that sort of an offensive scheme. But another player comes to mind, and that's, I guess it doesn't come to mind because it just...
What team?
Oh, man. Johnny Manziel in 2012.
He has the Hiesman. Way more yards, by the way, than Jackson has this year, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he was...
And that's the SEC.
The first of his kind, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because he was white, first of all.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just... No one had seen really anything like that. It was just this... You can't explain him, you can't stop him, you game plan for him, but you can't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. I think Lamar Jackson has that, aura about him. But where was he against Clemson?
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
The big games wasn't there.
And comparing Clemson's defense to Louisville's defense in comparing Watson and Jackson in that game is unfair. However, there's a lot to be said for stepping up in big games. Houston, second to last game of the season.
Don't talk to me about Houston. Don't do this
5, dude. It was right there. They'd be in.
Why do you do this to me? Why do you talk about Houston? You made me sad. You know how much I loved Houston coming into this year.
I did. I did.
Tom, how's Herman gonna do in Texas?
Dude, I don't know.
Can he
I don't care.
It's so weird. He's only coached 2 years.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the whole resume.
Yeah.
Is 2 years at Houston, and they were one really good year and one kind of a bummer.
When you got it, you got it. But it's not as if Houston is coming out of nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. They have had Keenum. They've had good players.
Case Keenum, love him.
Dude, Case Keenum was putting up monstrous numbers in college. But again, I think that when Lamar Jackson wins it, because Watson, as good as he's been, he's not as good as he was even last year.
No.
It's very, very close, but he didn't win it last year.
Yeah. And it shouldn't necessarily hurt him that he wasn't as good because the other players might not be as good. But Jackson was just
said for consistency there too. So I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Watson won it over Jackson. I think that would be the correct choice, especially considering where the teams are and how this season played out for both of them. Clemson has a 1-point loss.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I didn't buy into him much this year. I still haven't really.
He threw 70 times against Pitt in that loss. 70.
How about Pitt, by the way? Pitt beat all the good teams.
Yeah.
Lost to some bad ones. If you had a vote for Heisman?
If I had a vote for the Heisman, my vote would go to Watson.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I like it. Let's go NBA.
Let's do it.
Russell Westbrook's got 6 triple-doubles in a row now?
Something monstrous. He's been insane. Insane.
Can this pace stay?
It's hard to say. I mean, the West is grueling. Yeah. And, there are better teams in the West that can defend Westbrook's style. I don't know.
He's just crazy. And it doesn't seem like when you watch, it doesn't seem like he's chasing stats. It's just chasing the ball everywhere. Like he's just.
Yeah, I think he has.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
He's got to have the biggest chip of all time.
He had a big one before. He was already mad all the time before, and now he's just.
Oh yeah.
And now the Durant stuff.
And that's
different stratosphere.
That's why I hesitate to say he can't keep it up, because I think that he will himself to just record numbers this year. Will that equal a ring? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so at all.
No.
I think Jordan's numbers as an individual were better right before they started winning. When they started going absolutely nuts, things obviously he stayed consistent scoring, but he didn't have to do everything himself anymore. He had Pippen finally coming into his own, where he could rely on him for 30 points if he didn't have it in him that night. You know what I mean? So Westbrook is out to prove that he was the better player all along. If he'll do that, I don't know. Durant,
probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not gonna. It's gonna be very difficult to outduel Kevin Durant this year when Durant is in a locomotive of an offense.
Did you see what Durant said about the Clippers?
No.
Yeah, I'm just losing more and more respect for KD every time he talks about this. But he said the trio of Chris Paul and Griffin and DeAndre was very tempting when deciding to make his decision. Like he actually, seriously, it's like, are you, dude?
That's
are
terrible.
you really gonna get that? You know, I don't know. I didn't like it. LeBron, for all his, for all the hate that came his way, it was the way he did it. I think everybody understood why he did it.
Yeah,
it was the way he did it. He and Dwayne Wade were best friends. And Chris, they had planned it for a while. KD literally ended the season and said, "Okay, give me the specs on all the teams, please, and their chances. What does Vegas have to say about this team? Oh, let's see. Okay, well, I like those. Not that would have been necessary at all in making that decision. But
I get it, wanting a title. I get it, but like, it's tough.
Does it get more obvious?
I mean, this is so 2016 to use this word, but just the optics of it are so they're just off. It's just off. I mean, I'm happy he's there because it's fun to watch him play, and I still don't think they have any rim protection or rebounding or defense to win a title. I honestly wouldn't. I'd pick the field if it was Golden State versus the field.
Oh, for sure.
And
for sure.
I'm tempted to pick the field over.
If Cleveland didn't fall apart 2 years ago by the finals, we may not be talking about.
That's true. Yeah, there was no love, no Irving.
You know what I'm saying? We may not be talking about KD in Golden State. So, it's crazy. It's crazy how the NBA works. You never can tell. But what you can tell is that the Spurs are going to be good.
Yes,
God damn it, the Spurs are going to be good.
Death taxes, and the Spurs are going to win 65 games.
That's right.
That's it. All right, so speaking of the Warriors, the other night, Klay Thompson scored 60 points in 29 minutes.
That's pretty good.
Now, they were up by like 30.
Yeah.
And Steve Kerr pulled him out.
Steve Kerr's so nice. Oh, man.
If you were Steve Kerr, do you pull him out? Obviously, if you're Klay Thompson, do not touch me, but if you're Steve Kerr, do you take him out of the game? Big lead.
It would depend on who I'm playing, to be honest with you. If I'm playing the Lakers or something like that, keep them in.
They weren't.
Yeah, I know.
It wasn't high. Who were they playing?
It wasn't Phoenix, was it?
No,
but something along those lines.
Utah?
Portland?
I think it was Utah, actually.
Was it? No.
I don't know.
Anyway, Utah's sneaky good because of Gobert. But anyway, I have Utah friends. They post stuff on Facebook. It's the only thing I know about the Jazz. But no, insane how quickly he went off. I mean, you have to stop that. You can't let that happen.
I don't know what that was.
This is the National Basketball Association. You're professionals, and it's, I don't know. It's one thing if Steph does it. I don't know. To me, Thompson is just more containable. And maybe that was their plan all along. Is like, we're going to dare him to do it.
Yeah.
We don't have the assets to be able to throw more than what we already have at him. So if he scores 60 on us, awesome. Let's hope they focus on his 60 and not on our giving him 60. You know what I'm saying?
Pacers, by the way.
Pacers, there we go.
Pacers. Yeah. I think it was Simmons talking about this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any NBA players? There are some. Who are the NBA players that can look at the coach and say, "No, I'm not coming out"? LeBron.
Well, LeBron is the coach, so
yeah, LeBron can tell Ty Lue, "I've got 60 in 29 minutes. Go away. I'm going to break Kobe's 81." Right? Because that's the number. It's the modern day number. No one's going to score 100 points. So if you're going for a modern day number, it's 82. Klay Thompson in the early third quarter was 22 points away, and he'd only dribbled the ball 11 times.
He had to have gotten something in return. That was like, listen.
Oh boy, you're diving deep now. I like this.
Have a seat. I know. I'll make it up to you. Talk to me after the game. I mean, that would be the story.
Yeah.
My reaction to my coach pulling me out, because it would have been bad.
Well, he wasn't happy, and he actually, I loved his post-game press conference because he goes, paraphrasing, he's like, yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, shooting the ball well, and my two highest scoring games of my career, I haven't been able to play the fourth quarter. I think we should probably start keeping these games closer so I can score. Just like that's hysterical that his two highest scoring games of his career, he didn't play in the fourth quarter of either of them.
Yeah,
because that's what Golden State does. They just sprint out ahead and stay there.
That's true. It would shock me if the highest scoring game by a single Spurs player was more than 50.
50? Kawhi, you think Kawhi goes like maybe 40, or Aldridge goes for like 45 once this year?
I could see, yeah. I mean, to the best of my recollection, I can't remember Parker ever going off for 50. I can't remember Ginobili ever going off for 50, but he probably got in the 40s a few times.
Yeah.
Duncan, he got hot down low one game for just like 20 straight minutes and just destroyed some team.
Yeah, Aldridge would be my guy on that team, actually. Kawhi's a better scorer. Kawhi's a better scorer, but Aldridge, matchup-wise, he's going to have a 45-point game this year, right? It just happens for him. He'll go like 45 and 17. I saw it played 2 nights ago in Golden State.
He's like Al Jefferson like that. If Al Jefferson went off for 80, if Al Jefferson went off for 80, I'd be like, okay, he was due.
Yeah, there's Al Jefferson just doing Al Jefferson stuff.
Yeah, and 50 rebounds.
I was watching Golden State the other night.
Yep.
They had a play. They were in the defensive backcourt, and it was a jump ball in the lane, right?
Okay.
So they jumped the ball, and Draymond is standing between the circle and the baseline.
Yeah.
So he's right up underneath the basket practically. The ball gets tipped down to him. He immediately lobs it up the floor. Curry catches it in the paint on the other end in stride and underhand lays it up off the glass, and Durant alley-oops it.
Is there anything prettier
it's 3
than
seconds.
an impromptu basketball fast break that just goes perfectly?
No, it's beautiful. Well, there's one more thing that's more beautiful than that. It's when LeBron blocks Curry at the end of it. Yeah. That's the best part of the breakaway.
Yeah,
but no, it was 3 seconds. It was a defensive end. That's a hockey term, I guess, but it was a defensive zone face-off. It was a jump ball in their backcourt.
Right.
And in 3 seconds,
they catch the guy on a lead at the blue line. Yeah. And he just takes off. Hits a saucer pass perfectly over the defender's stick and a one-timer right over the goalie's shoulder. It's just
2 seconds
beautiful.
From the backcourt, and the ball was bouncing off the glass, and then Kevin Durant was just destroying it.
It was like the 2011-2012 Heat.
Yeah, circus.
Wade
it was a circus.
And LeBron were playing with people.
Yeah.
If they got a turnover, just stay where you are. Just stay and conserve your energy. Enjoy the highlight on the other end of the court, because you're not going to stop it.
We actually, and you watched a bunch of them with me here last year. We got a little bit of that in the blowouts with Kyrie and LeBron this year or last year. He'd just go up and just pull it. I remember specifically like 2 of those alley-oops. He pulled it from behind the backboard and just
It's unreal.
Follows him around.
He was like Calvin Johnson. You throw it within 11-foot radius of the rim.
Yeah.
LeBron will catch it and somehow cradle it, control it, and then do the right thing. It's just unfair, the kind of things they can do.
All right, we're gonna take a break for 1 second.
Let's do it.
And we're talking football. Let's go.
The Calhoun Show.
And just like that, we're back.
Just like that.
Ready to go. All right. I have a lot of NFL questions for you.
All right.
A lot.
Like a lot?
No, not really. Not really. Like 7.
Okay.
But I think they're good ones. So I'm going to ask them to you, and you're going to answer them, and it's going to be great.
That sounds like a plan. Fire away.
Okay. First off, where do you want to start? I'll ask you that. Where do you want to start? What do you want to talk about first? And then I will. What are you feeling? Anything.
Well, first and foremost, let's talk to my audience here. Eulogy for my fantasy season.
Oh, yeah, we need to.
Let's get out the flowers. Let's get out the flowers and the sad.
The flowers
music.
Wilted quickly.
Holy cow, dude! I had no business being in it as late as I was in the season. I think I have the record for lowest amount of points in a win. I'm pretty sure I'm that guy.
How many did you score?
I think it was in the 50s, man. It might have been in the 40s. It might have been in the 40s.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good.
bet.
I mean, it's a win.
Well, it's
a
better
win's
for
a
me
win.
than it was for the person I beat.
That's correct.
But I looked, and every single losing team in every other matchup would have beaten me. So I
you
mean,
played
it
the
was a
one
lot
guy.
Yeah.
You played the one guy.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm the 1 seed in the playoffs in that league.
Yeah.
Dan, this is Dan's first year in that league.
Second
year. I am the one.
Dan.
I am the 1 seed, attempting the 3-peat here.
I know. And we will never hear the end of it.
That's true.
That is true.
Dude. I mean, I'm not that anybody cares. Killing fantasy this year. 10-3, number 1 seed in both leagues.
In John's league too, huh?
Yeah, John's league 2,
Speaking
10-3.
of John, that's the matchup this week. We got the number 4. You feeling confident?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be fine.
No problem, huh? It's a 3-point projection difference, man. It's gonna be a good one.
Nah, it'd be fine. Even if I lose, I won 2 years in a row. Who cares? Plus that's the free league. That's the fun one. So I won't.
Yeah.
It won't hurt my feelings.
Right.
It won't hurt my feelings.
Yeah,
but I do want to win though.
Yeah, I am the Michigan of that league.
Best team
the
left
Miami,
out.
if you will. Yeah.
Best team. You had your Iowa game.
Miami
You had your
Dolphins.
Iowa game, and it fucked you. It happens.
I had an Iowa game, a Penn State game.
You more resembled the Utah Utes this year with the close losses and the.
I'll take it.
Yeah, you ranked at the end, but not quite there.
Yeah, ranked all the way through, but they are not calling your name.
However, the best team name in our league on your team.
You think so?
We had 2 years ago when I won, I was Jimmy's Golden Grams.
Right.
And then last year I was Golden Tate's Golden Grams.
Yeah, so cereal. It had to
So
be.
cereal was the new theme because I had won 2 years in a row. Nobody knows who made that rule up. It was just kind of like, all right,
Cam
we're doing.
said it, right? Or was it Lewis?
It doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter. But somebody just decided we're going to do cereal names, so Dan went with.
Haha, Clinton Tricks.
It's beautiful.
It's
it
perfect.
Still makes me laugh.
And you know
it's
what?
been around for 14
I like
weeks.
that name even less than the name I had already chosen before I knew that it was going to be cereal themed.
Which was
Adrian Beatersons.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That happened.
Yep. My team name in the other league is I'm with Hearns.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
I've been with Hearns all season, and I wish I wasn't. Let me just say that. Hearns or Yeldon, both of them can go take a hike.
The puns,
How did I
the
forget
puns and
what
double
team-
entendres
how
of
did I-
that are just beautiful, by the way.
How did I forget what team they played for? You know?
Yeah. Well, anyway, all right. So NFL stuff.
Yes.
The New England Patriots are going to be playing without Rob Gronkowski now.
It won't matter.
Okay, well that's the question. Are the Patriots Are the Patriots still the favorite to come out of the AFC?
Listen, if you put on a jersey right now and started as the tight end, I would actually I would bet 2 catches.
You got me at 2.
2.
I'm going to will tie this.
No yards.
Oh, yeah, no.
No, it would be a quick slant.
Dude, my yak numbers are terrible. There's no yards after the catch.
Yeah.
I'm laying down.
But it doesn't matter who suits up for the New England Patriots. They will be successful, and then they'll move somewhere else and stop being successful. It's just how it
the
is.
players, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, look what Randy Moss.
Yeah, but...
I mean, that was a resurrection.
He was coming down toward the end there.
Yeah.
When he left the Patriots. The Patriots defense scares me. They're not good. It's a bad defense. It's one of the worst defenses Brady's going to have to overcome in his career.
But in the playoffs, and come playoff time when you I don't know, there's just that, they've earned it. I mean, there's nothing you can say except that they've earned it, but the Patriots could have the worst defense in the league for the entire year, and they'll win a game on a pick 6. No. You know what I mean? Just because it's Belichick.
That's true.
I don't know. It's the Belichick factor.
The teams in the AFC this year, though, are so interesting because Kansas City plays a perfect style to beat the Patriots. And by the way, they keep winning on the road against good teams.
Hilarious because they've got the loudest stadium except Seattle.
They've won in Oakland, Atlanta, and Denver this year.
Yeah, the Road Warriors, man. Defense travels. That's why you'll always. That's why Baltimore and Pitt seem to be more stable than the Cincinnati Bengals. You know what I mean? The Bengals offense probably arguably
Pittsburgh's is the best.
Pittsburgh's is the best. No doubt about that. But
Cincinnati's is way better than Baltimore's when they're healthy.
Right, to have sustained success in the NFL or in college, you need a defensive-minded program. So,
can you imagine if on Championship Sunday we're going Seattle at Dallas and then Oakland at New England. That's the best Championship Sunday of all time.
You know what?
That's amazing. Because you get the dome game in Jerry World with the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And then you go outside to New England with the emerging superstar in the league with Derek Carr. I mean, he's a stud this year. He is. He is vaulted.
Really last year.
Yeah, he was
his
good.
coming out party as far as like,
but
okay, watch this
God.
kid. Yeah, he can sling it.
Yeah, and
he can sling it.
And he's
Amari
calm.
Cooper is.
Oh, he's yeah. They're all. Yeah, I mean, the whole team.
They got the pieces.
Yeah. So you mentioned Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
Yes.
So this is going to be an opinion thing.
Okay.
The way the AFC is shaping up right now, right? New England's going to win the East.
Oh yeah.
Some terrible team's going to win the South. Doesn't matter. There's no wild card coming out of the East or the South, right?
Are they in a 3-way tie at 6-6 right now? I think they are.
Yeah, something like that. Either way, AFC East, AFC South, barring the Bills, I think rattling off 4 straight, we're not getting a wild card there.
No.
So this is where it gets interesting. Oakland's going to win the West.
I think the West gets them all.
But that's the question.
Yeah.
It's coming down to Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Denver. There's 2 spots in those 3 teams. That we're not getting one of them. Because Kansas City's in. Kansas City and Oakland are in.
I think whoever gets in between Pitt and Baltimore, the other doesn't.
Okay, so you have 2 wild cards out of the West.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see? I'd love to see Baltimore in. Baltimore wins in New England.
Pitt?
Baltimore can win in New England. For sure. They've done it before.
Yeah.
Flacco loves it up there.
Yep.
Flacco is so mediocre all the time until he's not. And my brother's a diehard Ravens fan, and I was talking to him about it. I was like, yeah, Eli's the same way. And he was like,
I was just going to say that.
But my brother pointed it out. He goes, yeah, but Eli every once in a while has 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. 440 yards, 385 yards and 5 touchdowns. Like
Eli does those more consistently.
Flacco doesn't do that stuff.
No.
Flacco's best game is 380 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like that's like the ceiling.
Right.
But then he gets in the playoffs and he just wins games.
Yep.
And that defense is ferocious.
Oh yeah.
Love the defense in Baltimore. I hope they get in. Yeah. I think Pittsburgh's going to win the North, and I really could do without Denver. I'm just over the Broncos. They don't do anything for me. They're not compelling. The running game. I know this hurts a little bit for you, but the running game sucks without C.J. Anderson. They can't move the ball.
It kind of sucks with him.
That's true. They weren't great with him, but they were a lot better with him than with and I know Booker's a rookie.
Yeah,
but I can do without him. I can pass on the Broncos.
Yeah, when Peyton went there, I was happy for him. My family. All Broncos fans.
Yeah, sure. Being from where you are.
Denver, right. So, my wife actually randomly is a Denver Broncos fan on the down low. But
that's super random.
They don't do anything for me. I think they get in, though, just because I give their defense the benefit of the doubt. Their schedule is getting rough, though. They're about to get into the grind for sure.
Looking at... I was thinking about the Jets-Colts game. And I had written down Jets, and we have to talk about the Jets.
Yeah, let's talk about them.
This is the worst run team in the NFL, and that includes the Cleveland Browns.
I was gonna say
this is a league that includes the Cleveland Browns, and mind you, your San Francisco 49ers, who are not only poorly run but have had the worst retirement/injury luck over the last 4 years of any team.
Yeah.
But we don't want to lose sight of the fact that Balky's terrible.
Correct.
All right, so the Jets came into this year.
Yep.
And all summer, they were held hostage by Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Beautiful.
They didn't have a quarterback all summer.
Yep. Good thing they signed him.
Because that's the guy. That's the guy. They got him. They went 10-6 last year.
Oh,
and
man.
It was so clearly a mirage.
Yeah.
And they came into this year with no offensive line. None. With Ryan Fitzpatrick, who is just as likely to throw it to you in the third row as he is to throw it to the cornerback, as he is to throw it to the tight end. All 3 of those are an equal possibility. Yeah. And he held the team hostage for an entire summer. Yeah. They came into the season. How lucky
was he? I mean, that's just timing at its best.
$14 million to play and throw 6 picks in Kansas City.
Yeah, unreal.
Meanwhile, in their quarterback room already, They had Christian Hackenberg, who they spent a second-round pick on, who is nowhere close to playing. Which, by the way, don't put him on the field if he's not close. I'm okay with that. But he's nowhere close to playing.
Nowhere.
Right? They have Bryce Petty, who's never run an NFL offense.
No.
And he's been there for a little while now. But
he played in the Big 12.
Yeah.
You never trust a Big 12 quarterback. They don't play against defenses.
If I asked you, if I said you get to pick any random quarterback out of college football from a big school, who do you not want? You're going to say, well, maybe the Baylor quarterback, because I don't really trust that offense to throw any pro quarterback out.
Yeah,
and maybe Bryce Petty's got some raw talent. Maybe in the last 4 games he'll be fine, but he's not an option either. And in the same quarterback room, they still have Geno Smith.
Still do, yeah.
Geno Smith, Christian Hackenberg.
He must have the best agent ever.
Like, you look in Chicago.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler and Matt Barkley are both better quarterbacks than the 4 guys the Jets have.
Look at the Dallas quarterback situation, dude.
Yeah.
Could it be more polar opposite?
Nope.
I mean...
and the Jets are just one of those teams that the Jets got Hackenberg and Prescott went in the 4th.
Yeah. I was going to say, they passed up on... and that's what bad teams do. That's what makes a bad office. And that's what makes the Spurs, and that's what makes the New England Patriots. At the end of the day, that's what makes them, is their ability to go beyond, and find the talent and then coach them up. You know what I mean?
That's the other thing, yeah. And the ability to develop depth in those organizations too. Like we've talked about it before, and I've talked about it with Brett. The fact that in every NBA draft, there's one guy that the Spurs draft who's in Europe for 4 years, and 4 years later he's a solid NBA player.
Yep.
Like it's every time.
Like
they don't miss
Diaw.
Yeah, they don't miss those picks.
No.
They make them and they say, all right, yeah, you do your thing. We're going to keep an eye on you from San Antonio, but that's fine. And 3 years later, they're a top 8 player on the team and they're in the rotation.
Right.
And the Patriots do the same thing. Belichick's had a couple drafts.
And if there's one thing that Europeans really do thrive under, it's strict, rigid, organizational.
Coming in hot on
regimes.
Europeans right now.
Yeah,
we're going to lose our entire European base because of that comment. Sorry,
send me the emails.
I'm sorry.
Send me the emails.
Sorry, potential guy that might exist there.
Sorry, Pierre.
So speaking of the Cowboys, now you're going to put your.
It might be Cowboys and Raiders. I got a question for you.
That'd be fun.
I got a question for you.
Bring it.
What's worse? A Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys or the Raiders as potential champions, or the election we just went through?
Well, I got no problem with the Raiders.
Oh man,
I got no problem with the Raiders.
Raiders fans and my team's fans shoot each other in parking lots.
Yeah, you West Coast people have a real good vibe about you that you're all chill. You guys are the way more violent than anybody else.
Yeah.
At the sporting events.
Oh, for sure. That's the only thing to get us riled up, though. That's the thing. Nothing else in life, What, traffic?
Philly, New York is a picnic compared to Dodgers, Giants.
Yeah.
It's
but in
ridiculous.
New York, how many terrible people do you deal with on a daily basis just because there's so many that everybody's desensitized? Nobody gives it's not worth your time to invest emotions. Out west, you get beer in somebody and a sports team, it's on, man.
Yeah.
Dodgers, Giants, nothing ever goes down between those two.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Brett last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You get to invest in the future of one organization.
Minnesota, we're talking NFL?
Nope. Minnesota Timberwolves or Oakland Raiders?
Oh, man.
They remind me so much.
Oakland Raiders. As much as I hate them, their brand is so much stronger than Timberwolves. I mean, it's just...
Plus, they might go to Vegas, which is awesome.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter where they go. They could go to Minnesota, and the Timberwolves could go to Oakland, and the brand would carry the Raiders, and you would see crazy blonde German psychos painting their faces black within a week. You know what I mean? So it's just
take off the purple, put on the black.
Exactly.
All right. So the Cowboys quarterback situation obviously has been resolved. Dak Prescott's the starter. We all know this.
Yes.
This Sunday night, I believe, if Seattle loses this weekend,
it's a clinch,
and the Cowboys beat the Giants on Sunday, the Cowboys already clinched the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Right.
What do you
10-1, right?
13-1? 12-1? 11 and
Are
1.
we that deep?
I think
we're
they'd
at
be
week 12, right? So
I think
they're
we're
11 and 1.
No, we're in week 14 because
With
we
a
got
bye, so
15,
10 and
16,
1.
17. So they'd be 12 and 1 after this game.
Okay.
So if they'd be 12 and 1 and clinch the number 1 seed.
Right.
What do you do with your two young, still potential injury candidate rookies for the last 3 weeks of the year? While also you have the potential of maybe someday needing Tony Romo in the playoffs this year, and he's healthy. And you've clinched the number 1 seed, but you're risking 31 of 38 for 295 yards and 4 touchdowns from Tony Romo.
Yeah, I am always going to side with business as usual.
Yep.
I think as soon as you stray from the path that got you there, you're messing with your own destiny. You know what I mean? If it's not broke, don't fix it. I hate to be that cliche, but it's that simple. You know, consistently you see in baseball a lot. You see it in hockey sometimes. Hockey, I guess, a little less so because rest is so much more valuable in hockey series than it is in baseball, unless you're talking pitchers, obviously. But where you'll see a team sweep and then sit around and wait for the Game 7 winner, and the Game 7 winner comes off hot as hell and just smokes them.
Steamroll, yeah.
Smokes them. You saw that a little bit. Sometimes you would see that with the Spurs, where they would rest a little bit too much, and it comes back to bite them where they got a little bit of ring rust and they can't recover. The Colts were...
that Colts team that gave up against the Jets, right? They went 15 and 1 because of it, and then they got bounced.
Exactly. That was their thing. They got to be known for screwing themselves over in the interest of playing it safe.
I think you got to ride these kids all the way through.
You do.
You can't risk it.
Give them, exactly. Give him the chance.
You have
just as much chance of him getting injured in week 15 or week 16 than you do in 7 or 8. But you're not going to rest him in 7 or 8 just because you're going up against a good defense. You know, because,
I mean, but even I don't know. It's tough. And
it is.
I can understand wanting Romo to play. If I were a Cowboy fan, I'd be conflicted on this. I'd kind of want him to play a little bit because you remember back in 2001, Bledsoe played in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
He came in and won a game, and then Brady went back in and won a Super Bowl, and Tom Brady was born. But Bledsoe played in the playoffs.
Right.
And it's forgotten, but I for some reason, and maybe it's just like a morbid thought, like something bad's going to happen, I think we're going to see Romo at some point here. I just think we're going to see him.
You think it just has to happen?
It feels like it feels Cowboy-esque, doesn't it? This is so smooth.
Let's see how far we can be good before tanking. Sorry, John.
Seriously, but this ride down the highway has been bumpless, and that's just not what the Cowboy. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's almost been surreal.
By the way, very, very sneaky possibility for the Cowboys right now. They are playing a injured, not great Giants team. Mm-hmm. That knows how to beat the Cowboys.
Kind of emotional too. You guys are kind of dramatic.
Oh my God! And my quarterback's starting to scare me, and he's scared of the offensive line, so I can understand both.
Like he turns out to be a serial killer, kind of scares you. That's the vibe I get.
Yeah, I got you.
Like just Eli smiling in the corner, like grinning at you. It's like, relax, Eli.
So the Cowboys play the Giants on Sunday night at MetLife. So that's possibly a loss, but probably not. They'll probably be okay, but. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that they lose because the Giants can beat them. They're today. It's still the only team that has.
Right, week 1. Right.
Yep. Which Dak's first game, Zeke's first game, whatever.
Whatever, man.
A win's a win. Terrence Williams didn't go out of bounds. Not my fault.
Totally the same teams.
Not my fault. Shut up. But either way, Dallas next week has Tampa, who's hot as hell right now.
They really are. Their defense has been the surprise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That Seattle game was shocking.
Yeah.
With how dominant they were.
Sure. Did Jameis continue his streak?
Which one?
Every single game he's accounted for at least 1 touchdown of his entire career.
I imagine so, yeah.
I couldn't remember because they scored, I know they scored 14 on Seattle, but he accounted for 1. I don't remember what they put up this last week.
I heard a great comparison because we were comparing Eli to Flacco. Jameis Winston is Eli. Well, no, you and I were. Well, you just kind of talk about the big games. Yeah. Jameis Winston Eli Manning. Might give you 400 yards.
You think so?
Might give you 4 picks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He might fall backwards.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, exactly. He might fumble the ball.
Throwing it above his head to nobody.
But isn't that such
a lobster falling out of his pockets?
Dude, you know how many times, at least 3 or 4 times and I've been a Giants fan my whole life, I've watched Eli play almost 200 games in a row.
Yeah.
Multiple times I've seen Eli Manning run it up the field, decide he's going to dive for a first down, and fumble the ball on impact with no one touching him. Like, it just happens. He just can't hold the ball. And Jameis Winston is big play. He'll throw
He's
numbers.
He's just dopey.
But, like...
that's just... he's just kind of dopey. I don't know how else to describe it. The talent is undeniable. Eli had to earn it. I mean, Eli really took a long time to get out of Peyton's shadow. I mean, he's not out of Peyton's shadow, but I don't mean that.
It helped getting 2 Super Bowls first. That helped.
It did, but that was almost a joke. I mean,
not to the Patriots. It wasn't.
Zing. The second the clock struck 0 and Peyton had his second ring, where were the cameras? On Eli's sad face. And I mean, apparently, allegedly.
That entire season was weekend at Peyton's.
For sure.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, he was on par.
I don't know if anybody's made the weekend at Peyton joke yet, but I'm really happy with it.
That's good.
I've never heard that before. I think I made that up. I'm patenting it right now. If somebody else said it, you're lying.
Weekend at Peyton's.
Just have.
Yeah, I agree.
Weekends at Peyton's, right? 19 weekends at Peyton. Yeah,
with Akeem Talib holding him up on one side and
Von Miller's got the puppet strings.
Other.
I don't know. Who's your? Is New England still the Super Bowl pick? It sounds like it is.
Man, I mean, I would definitely give them the best odds for sure. But for some reason, I just think that it's gonna be somebody out of the AFC. I don't know why. I can't really explain it. I just feel like the NFC. Not the Patriots. Somebody out of the AFC, not the Patriots. Let me just qualify that. Sorry.
All right, real quick before we wrap up, I had one question on the college football thing that I forgot to get to.
Yeah.
It's from Mark on Twitter. Wants to know, and I don't know if we'll probably have to pull up a schedule here. I haven't watched one college football game this season. What's the best bowl game for me to watch? Now, Final Four is, the given. Watch the big games.
Sure.
But hasn't been plugged in on college football this year. Is there one thing that jumps out at you? One game, one.
I have my own personal preference, but that's a game that's going to be interesting to me because it's my rival playing an old conference foe. That hates them almost as much as my fan team base.
So who's BYU playing?
Wyoming.
Oh, okay.
This is a funny story, actually. I'll say this before I look up while I'm looking up all the bowls, right?
Yeah.
2008, when Utah went on their run, my roommates and I forked out, road trip money and drove from Salt Lake to Laramie, Wyoming.
Okay.
Which, if anybody's been to Wyoming, it's awful. Just Google Laramie, Wyoming. Click on images and then hurry and click out before you want to kill yourself.
The words Laramie, Wyoming made me not want to listen to your story anymore.
Yeah,
and I haven't even been there. It is
horrendous. There's a reason why Wyoming school colors are yellow and brown. Same as the...
Got it.
Okay?
Got it.
Okay. That's not a coincidence. So we go up to the game and Utah just smokes Wyoming. I mean, they're playing out of their minds. Wyoming is a terrible team that year, and we get up 40-0 on Wyoming somewhere in the third quarter, right?
Sure.
So the Wyoming group over across the way is rowdy, and their students start chanting F the Cougars, which is BYU, not Utah.
Okay.
Utah's the Utes.
Yeah.
They went out of their way. They went out of their way
to ingratiate themselves
to hate on a team that we hate too. And I was just like, "What are they chanting?" I looked at my friend. I looked at my roommates. I looked at my dad. He came up from Denver. We came up from Salt Lake. And
stay on the mic. Yeah.
Are they saying "F the Cougars"? I was like, all right, cool. Something everybody can enjoy. All right, good one.
I love that stuff.
So this will be the first time that those two teams have played since BYU pretended they were too good for the Mountain West Conference and went independent.
How'd that work out?
Knowing that the conferences were just going to jump at the chance to pick them up.
Yeah.
Idiots. So I cannot
Dan's
wait.
BYU hate runs so deep. It's amazing.
It's
It's
deep
one of
and
my
it's real.
favorite things about Dan is
It's endless.
and it's always there.
Yeah.
Like there's always the potential for just like a fucking BYU.
Yeah.
So, what?
know?
Sorry, what? Nothing. I'm just enjoying this
sorry.
NBA game. Sorry.
I just had to get that out.
Definitely wasn't thinking about BYU just then.
Yeah. So to me, that is intriguing just because I want to see how that dynamic plays out. Obviously, BYU doesn't care. It's Wyoming. They think that they're better. They are better. And I think BYU wins on defense on that game. But Wyoming, I think, comes out with maybe some cheap shots.
Yeah.
That might get a little interesting.
I got a couple bowls for you.
Let's hear it.
Western Michigan, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I hope Western Michigan.
How
gets
fun
smoked.
would that be?
I hope they get smoked.
Oh, come on. You're no fun.
That's the part of me.
Suck.
That's
Come
the part
on.
of me. That's the part of me that would just absolutely love the Rocky plot where he just gets beat to death for 11 rounds, and then between the 11th and 12th round, he goes to his corner, gets the news from his corner that oh, your dad's gonna pull through, and he loved you the whole time, and then Rocky comes out, he's all pumped, and then he just gets dropped, just gets laid out first punch, just that to me is very funny. So no love lost for Western Michigan.
All right, Michigan, Florida State's good.
Yeah, I mean,
Big
just
game.
Just to see the NFL talent going up against each other, that's really
And-
all you're going to see. There's going to be no motivation. There's no real backstory to those two teams.
And I'll let you go. I didn't name my favorite one yet. I didn't name the bowl that I think is going to be the best game, like the most entertaining game to watch.
Entertaining game to watch is probably going to be. I don't know. Give it to me. What do you think?
It's. I'm trying to find when it's taking place. Oh, obviously. Oh, yeah, because they moved it. I was going to see if it was New Year's Day. It's the Rose Bowl. It's USC Penn State. That's a phenomenal. Neither of those teams have lost in September. That's a great game.
Did USC get the Rose Bowl over Colorado? Because that's funny.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been so out of it the last couple weeks with work.
USC Penn State Rose Bowl is a phenomenal football game.
Yeah. USC's unstoppable right now.
That's
oh my god.
That's like the biggest.
That quarterback of theirs, I'm glad we got him. I'm glad we got USC for Darnold's first start. Because his second start, they were better than us.
And it still didn't work. Yeah.
Their second start, they were better than us.
Yeah.
And the South is looking very good for USC.
Yeah, they were so good, dude. This is fun as always.
Always, buddy.
We'll reconvene around the championship games.
Yes, sir.
As per usual. All right, brother. Thank you, sir.
Take it easy.
Dan Condie, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm out.
The Calhoun Show.
All right. Big thank you to Dan for coming in. This is actually a little bit later on in the evening than when Dan left. We had a few questions come in, actually, after we had finished recording. So we're going to get to those next week. Another thing that we're going to do next week, because I didn't give it the proper time for this week, was the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's something that a few people, Kyle Gregoire, has requested a couple times. We're definitely doing that on the show. But I wanted to give it more time than I had today. I'm trying to keep these things to around an hour, and I was lucky enough to have Dan come in. So there was a couple questions and a couple voicemails and things that we're gonna miss this week that will be on next week. But we're just trying to. I'm gonna do baseball for 10, 15, 20 minutes next week with all the stuff with the Red Sox with Chris Sale. They trade Yohan Moncada. They trade Travis Shaw. Shore up the bullpen. And just a ton of different hot stove things. Bryce Harper's looking for $400 million. Out of the Nationals. So there's a lot of baseball stuff that we're going to get to, and that's going to be on the show next week, I promise, because I know there's baseball fans that listen to this that are mad at me for not talking enough. So we'll do that. We'll do that next week for sure. But thank you to everybody, including Kyle, who sent some stuff in that we didn't get to today. But all the listener interaction has been awesome. Reminder, the Christmas Calhoun Show secret gift giveaway thing. I think we're going to call it the Calhoun Show Cold Dump, or the Calhoun Cold Dump, whatever Stephanie decided. You'll see it on our Twitter page. Whatever Stephanie picks is going to be the name of this thing. But the prize actually really is awesome. It really is cool. So comment send in voicemails, tweet the show, send an email, and it's super broad. The best social media interaction that we have, and that includes the voicemails, will win the prize between now and December the 24th. So definitely get on that. Thank you again to Dan for coming in as he does not as often as I'd like. We're going to get him in more. Because I love having him on, and I love going back and forth with him. The Dan episodes and the Brett episodes, I think, are the ones I like the most because it's not just me for an hour. So if you guys enjoy that, tell me, and we'll make sure to do it more often. So thank you to Dan. Thank you to my sister for all the work that she does. She sends me notes. She does all the social media stuff. She's the best. And a reminder, thank you, always thank you. To Patrick Dixon and Andrew Schucht for the work that they do for this show. Andy created the logo for us. He created the new profile picture that we're using for me, and he did it on a moment's notice. And Patrick created all the music for this show, and he helps me out with other stuff too, gives me suggestions. He listens every week. He helps me in a lot of ways. So Stephanie, Andy, and Patty, this show definitely doesn't happen without you guys. So thank you. Honestly, thank you. So that's it for me this week. I am going to enjoy the rest of my night. I think I'm going to watch a little Cavs-Knicks now and take it easy. So you guys have a great weekend. A lot of good games. We finally have a good Thursday night game. So if you're listening to this on Thursday, enjoy that tonight. And I will talk to you guys next week. We'll talk to you online. You guys know the ways to get in touch with us, and you'll hear it here at the end anyway. So we'll close with Patty's music and say, and Andy's voice, and say thanks, guys. I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to The Calhoun Show. Join the conversation by following the show on Twitter @Calhoun Show and emailing the show at calhounshow@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe and download for free on iTunes. Want to hear yourself on the show? Leave us a voicemail by calling 860-740-2119.